Phillies and Eagles throwbacks, Dennis Santana or David Bednar, ? That was the hot rumor, coming out of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Actually, it was originally reported by a radio guy out there.
Andrew Filipponi, right?
Yeah, Filipponi. Yeah. And then Pittsburgh Post-Gazette had a more detailed story about what the Pirates are looking to do at the deadline. And they reported that the Phillies are interested in both Dennis Santana and David Bednar, that they've been high on Santana for a long time, and more recently have come around on Bednar because of how well Bednar's pitched. Hasn't allowed an earned run since May. So where are you, I guess, on the bullpen? I mean, Romano, we've discussed ad nauseum. He's good at times and he's terrible at times. There's no in between with him.
I appreciate that the Phillies took Ranger Suarez out on Saturday at 80 pitches. That they felt like, look, there's some lingering things.
Yeah.
We went through this with him last year where he missed a month. He was never right when he came back. I have no problem playing a conservative with Ranger Suarez. I'm totally fine with it. The Phillies' track record of keeping their pitchers healthy speaks for itself. You get no second guessing out of me. That being said, 6th inning on Saturday, I texted you and I said, I'd rather see Ranger Suarez at 147 pitches than this guy throw a pitch in this inning, in this game right now. Talking about Jordan Romano. Jordan Romano evokes absolutely no trust from me. We talked about him last week. I acknowledge that this bullpen is very thin. He probably represents more upside than most of these guys. I think that you keep him. I don't think it's a DFA thing. I think you hope that he gets hot for a few weeks and figures it out like he did at the beginning of the season after the hiccups. But you cannot design your, we're going to go try to win a championship and say Jordan Romano is going to be an integral part of this. We're going to ask this guy to get outs in key situations or take down high leverage 7th, 8th, 9th innings. No, it can't happen. You can't go an entire 3 months, 86 games, whatever it's been, and say, well, I know he has a 7.2 ERA, but if you just take out the 9 games of the 35, you can't do that. You cannot have a guy who literally implodes 1 out of every 4 appearances be a key part of what you're doing in your bullpen.
1,000%. Look, if it was just 1 or 2 games, and then you could sit there and go, okay, if you just take those 1 or 2 out,
no problem with that. Agree.
Right, and it's fine. But when it's 9 out of 35, it's like it happens too often, right? That's too often. 9 out of 35. 26 games, he's been good. 9, he's been god-awful. So, he could be part of your bullpen. He just can't be a reliable part of your bullpen. And so, you look at that, you look at the bullpen, and other than Kerkering, you have no reliable right-handed pitcher right now.
Yeah.
And so, with that said, I'm all in on. I've said I think we were the first show, Bob. In all honesty, I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but about a month and a half ago, I think we were the first show who said Dennis Santana would look really good in the Phillies uniform.
He would. Now let's talk about him. Let's talk about him a little bit. Okay, so on the plus side of this, you're talking about a 29-year-old. He has pretty good stuff. He's giving up 5.2 hits per 9 innings right now. His WHIP is .763. 38 innings pitched. His ERA plus is 3.02, Anthony. He's having an awesome year. He doesn't
strike anybody out. He's a soft contact guy.
Yes, he is. He's a soft contact guy. And you know me, I like guys that miss bats. And we had this conversation about Estevez last year in terms of a guy who's been around a little bit, having a career year. I can't take credit for this take. I heard Jack Fritz say it last week, and I tend to agree. This has immediate regression written all over it when he comes here. But for what he is, he would be great. How could you argue with the season that he's having? I just look at it. You're talking about a guy that's been around the block a little bit here. And he's just pitching so far above what he has pitched in the past.
Well, he was good. He was good for the Pirates last year.
He was. He was not good for the Yankees.
No,
he was horrible for the Yankees, and then didn't pitch much in 23 with the Mets. He struggled immensely in 22 with the Rangers. So, it's been a while since we've seen this level, but it's been a 2-year run. The question becomes it's not Pittsburgh, it's Philadelphia, where that is part, it's real. People don't want to acknowledge that, but going from Pittsburgh to Philly it's just a different ball game. And I get like
and he's the guy, if you suspended a couple games, who for taking a swipe at a fan because he didn't like being heckled.
Well, I'll fit right in with this team. It's perfect. Would I do it? Sure, I would do it because he's a competent arm, and this team needs competent arms. Now, would I go crazy to bring him here? I don't know. Bednar, same thing. Like little older veteran guy, had struggled. Really, had struggled. Kind of looked like he went from being an elite level back end guy to like done, and now he's figured it out again.
Yeah.
That gives me some pause. Like, these aren't perfect solutions, but they're interesting.
So the thing about Santana that really I like more than I think maybe what you're suggesting is this. I don't think you're bringing in him to be the same role that Estevez was. So like he's not your closer. You're bringing in Dennis Santana to make the middle relief better.
Yeah.
And in that case, I'm all on board because I think that even if he is a soft contact guy, you're bringing him in probably at times of a game where even if he gets beat, you're still going to have an opportunity, right? Yeah, if he's preserving a lead and he gives up the tying run, okay, but you still have a chance. It's as opposed to being the guy at the back end who's coming in to save the game and then, they blow it. Now you're out of chances. You're out of opportunity. So I'm much better with a soft contact guy for the middle relief role than I am for the guy that you're going to in the 8th or 9th inning.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you think this is an either or is it like we want Santana and Bednar?
I think it's an either or, but because the reason I say that is if they go to get both, you're probably going to have to pay more. I mean, obviously you're going to have to pay more. That's a stupid statement, Anthony. But I mean, you're probably going to have to pay a lot more.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because they both have another year of control. So you're getting two relievers with a year and a half of control. You traded two decent pitching prospects for a free agent to be in Estevez last year. What are you going to have to trade for two guys with control? I think you got to give up too much.
It's interesting that you asked that question. I did a hit with Mike Gill yesterday on 97.5, and he had asked me, what do you think the Pirates would want? And I said, I'm curious to know if you agree with me. I said, I don't want to dodge your question, but I said, I think that that's impossible to answer because there's a lot of moving parts with the Pirates. Right now, you obviously have a Pittsburgh team that throws the ball pretty well. They have some interesting arms in that starting rotation. And so would a guy like Nick Abel be of interest to Pittsburgh? And I would say, like, on the surface, probably not. This is a team that desperately needs to add to its lineup and get some meaningful offensive pieces. But where I kind of land is, well, like if you look at Mitch Keller, I think that he's out of there, right? Maybe they bring in offense through a Keller trade, and then they would be interested in kind of filling out the rotation with a guy like Abel. So like, I don't know. Pittsburgh has so many different things that they could do that I think that though it's very blatantly obvious they need to upgrade offensively, that they could create enough gaps where they would be interested in arms as well.
I agree. I think every team is always interested in arms. Whether you need to upgrade your offense or not, I think teams are foolish to turn down a potential, rotation piece. Like there's value in. I mean, the Pirates found value in Bailey Falter, right? Yeah. And he's pitched well for them. Yeah. Right. I mean, but Phillies didn't want him any longer, but the Pirates found value in him and he's pitched well there. So I think that you can look at that. I just think it would cost too much for both. I think that you're probably looking at least one of your top end prospects, probably two middle tier prospects and maybe a low end prospect. Like it might cost you four guys and one of them is going to be a top end guy. And you're like, do I really want to give up a top end guy for two relievers? Like that's the thing that, because it's the most volatile position on a roster. I don't know. I think that's where I think they hedge it a little bit and would only go for one.